Good morning, my wonderful friends. Megas with you on a beautiful day in Asha. And I haven't been this excited for a series in a long time. I'm going to entitle this Zarathustra's Gathas for America. And I've translated the 17 chapters into a way that the Western mind can understand. And my friends, it'll change your life. You might be thinking, Megas, what do I even care? Why do I want to know about Zarathustra and his songs? My friends, one, it's the original monotheistic religion. So if you're watching this channel, you're probably interested in religion and spirituality, and this is the original monotheistic religion. Number two, it's the Magi of the Bible, the ones that heard from God, followed the star, and the first to worship Jesus. My friends, Jesus was a miracle worker. The Magi were the first miracle workers, the original magicians. You know, of course, Hollywood has changed it. I got a picture here of Zarathustra. In his older age, you know, he looks like a wizard, and that's kind of where they got the idea from. The Magi, that's where they get the word magic. But this is good magic. This is living in order, in harmony, where you create divine health. You know, Jesus healed the sick. He raised the dead. He could put protection and provision, and that's good magic. That's God magic, and that's where we're meant to live as sons of God. And my friends, I tell you what, when you understand Zarathustra's Gathas, it'll change your life, because it brings you back into order and harmony with the perfect Creator's perfect idea. And so I hope you're excited about this. So today we're going to cover Song 1 and the first two verses, and there's so much in that alone. Listen to how it starts. It says, Ahura Mazda. And this is important. The very first words and sentence, it shows you the most important thing that was on his heart and mind. And the most important thing on Zarathustra's mind was that you know that God and good are the same thing. And I'll tell you why. Because the tribe he came out of, I won't get too far into the history because I don't want to lose you. But to understand this, the Hindus and Zoroastrians at one time were one tribe. Okay? And you know what? Zarathustra, he noticed that the world was full of suffering and pain, and every time they tried to settle, barbarians would come in, and they're full of hate and greed and murder, and he is crying out, why is it like this? And he had a realization. It's not man's fault, it's the God's fault. Think about this. Okay, so it was a tribe that had many gods. Okay, and some of them were warring gods. Some of them were very violent. Some of them were lustful. You know, and they weren't all, not all of them were completely evil like you think of as a devil or a demon. Some were mixed. Some would protect you and do good for you as long as you were doing your right sacrifices to them and obeying them, and then they would give you some benefit. They might give you some protection, or they might make you victorious in war and give you more strength in anger and violence. And so they started to, or Zarathustra started to realize that it's the God's fault the way the world looks, because man in the world is looking just like the gods that they're worshiping, the gods, the energy that they have brought into their hearts. And the gods that they received, you know, they would be nice sometimes, and they'd be mean sometimes. They'd love sometimes, they'd hate sometimes. They'd be at peace sometimes, they'd be at war sometimes. You see where I'm going with this if you follow my channel for any amount of time. And so with Zarathustra, he went off into the mountains and he was seeking God. And I'll tell you who showed up. Ahura Mazda, the all-good God, the wisdom God, the love God, the one true God good. Because what he realized is that God and good are the same thing. So he couldn't call the other small g gods gods anymore. So he separated them into Ahuras and Divas. Okay, so the Ahuras were good, like we think of God and the angels. And the Divas were like the devil and the demons. And he separated them, and you know what? It made a split in their tribe. And so half of them went to be the Hindus and half of them the Zoroastrians. And so the Zoroastrians, they worship the loving Father, the all good God. And my friends, it changed everything. Now listen to his first verse here. So it says Ahura Mazda. So now you know who that is. It's the unmixed God, the pure God that's just love, peace, joy, kindness, goodness, has no attributes of the evil spirits, unmixed. It says, with a bow and uplifted arms I pray. Now my friends, the bow, it represents submitting, humbling himself. Because before, he was open to all the gods. And now he's just bowing the knee to the one true God, the loving Father. He's showing submission to him. Uplifted arms. Again, it's a surrender, my friends. And it says, first, get this, I pray first. So this is important to him. I ask for support through progressive mentality. Why would that be the very first thing he prays for? So I looked up the definition for support. Listen to what it says. It says, to provide a basis for the existence or substance of, a foundation. My friends, he wanted a foundation in God good, in the loving Father, in the true God. And he prayed for this through progressive mentality. That's the Holy Spirit. It says, then I pray that I may perform all of my actions based as they are on the wisdom of good mind. My friends, the good mind is what we here in the West call the Christ mind, the God mind, that you and God are one. So he wants to do all of his actions, everything he thinks and he speaks and he does, he wants it to be through the Christ mind, that him and the true God that he found are one, right? That's the message of Jesus, that you and God good are one. That's what's going to restore order. It says, precisely according to the laws of righteousness, so that I please you and the soul of the living world. Verse 2, get this, guys, it gets beautiful. You're going to love this. Wise God, I approach you through good mind. I love this. This is like when Jesus said, no one comes to the Father but through me. It says, wise God, I approach you through the good mind, the Christ mind. My friends, the only way to get to God good is through the Christ mind, the God mind, that fravashi, that divine spark that is in your heart of hearts, your true nature, that you come from good spirit, you're made of good spirit, and you'll return to good spirit, and you start working out of that Christ mind, that true idea, and not out of the thinking brain, the stories that you've heard in the world, the sin that's even passed in your very genes and DNA, but you're going into that Christ inside of you. You know, and I've been on this saying all month since Christmas, but you know, Jesus could be born 1,000 times in the earth, but it doesn't mean anything if he's not born inside of you. And when the Christ mind is born inside of you, that's your way to the loving Father. Wise God, I approach you through the Christ mind. Grant me through righteousness the blessings of both existences. Now, there's two existences. There's the material and there's the mental. So he wants to be blessed in both the mental and the material. And how do you do that? It says through righteousness. So I looked up righteousness. Look at this, guys. This is beautiful. The definition for righteousness is acting in accord with divine law, free from guilt and sin. My God, this is Jesus when he said, verily, verily, I say unto you, he who holds my vibration, my mind, my idea, my word, has God life. The law of life in Christ Jesus sets us free from the law of sin and death. Oh my God, are you getting this, my friends? So we come to God, to our good. God and good are the same thing. We want to come to the perfect Creator's perfect idea that we call Asha, heaven on earth. How do we get to that heaven on earth? My friends, we do it through the Christ mind. We're going to get it through righteousness, being dead to sin and being perfect like our Father in heaven is perfect. And then we get the blessings of both existence, mental and material. Asha 13 says that when our spiritual world is made straight, made right, then our material world comes into order. And then why does Zarathustra want this? This is beautiful, my friends. It says, so that I may lead my companions to happiness. That's the heart of a leader. That's the heart of a father. And my friends, that's the heart of your loving Father. He wants to lead you to your happiness. In truth, God good created a perfect world, and if you're not experiencing it, it's the lower G God's faults. The world and man looks like those divas that they love sometimes and they hate sometimes. And as long as you're pleasing them, they'll be nice to you. If you don't, they're going to make you suffer and they're going to kill you. And my friends, all the evil and suffering you see is from accepting the wrong gods in your life. Zarathustra is telling us to bow the knee to the all-good, loving Father. And the thing about loving fathers, you know, it's hard for, especially here in the West, to want to submit, to bow the knee. It makes us feel weak. I struggle with it too, my friends. But do you know what the thing about the loving Father? He doesn't want you to be down like a worm on your face. He wants to bring you up. It's like the story of the prodigal son, right? The prodigal son, he in his mind, he thought if he could get away from his father's house and he was going to drink and party and sleep around and sin, you know, he felt like he's being held back from something. But when he got out there, it was a nightmare. It was horrible. And he just wanted to come back to daddy. And he came back humbled and bowed and arms raised and I'm sorry, Father. And do you know what the loving Father did? He grabbed him up and he put a robe on him and rings on his fingers and fed him and blessed him and loved him and brought him up equal with him as one. My friends, that's the message of the Christ, that you and Jesus are one. You, Jesus, God, one. You and your God good are one. One love, my friends. And that's what's going to bring our world back to the perfect Creator's perfect idea. Asha, if you're going to enjoy this series, I want you to do me a favor and let me know, because we're only on verse 2 of chapter 1, my friends. So if you want me to keep doing this, go to the comments, let me know, give a thumbs up. And guys, I love you so much. You guys are a blessing to me. And make sure you go back and watch yesterday's video. It's one of the best videos I put out in a long time. And it described this teaching of Zarathustra so well. And I'm going to ask you, share that with someone too, if you will. I love you guys, and we'll see you for the next one.